All of us reach a point in time where we are depleted and need to somehow find a way to reignite the fire within. But how do we spark that flame? Welcome to Reignite Resilience, where we will venture into the heart of the human spirit. We'll discuss the art of reigniting our passion and strategies to stoke our enthusiasm. And now, here are your hosts, Natalie Davis and Pamela Cass.
Exactly. And it's time to use in those periods too, like the energy of support, I call it.
Yes.
How do we get others to support us? So many of us do so much for so many people,
Yeah.
and there are people who are just waiting
Mm-hmm.
to return it,
Yeah.
especially people that are empaths and,
Yeah.
the givers of the world, right? And you are actually doing something magnificent when you allow someone to help you in those times. If it's just a ride or bring me some food or whatever it may be,
Mm-hmm.
use the energy of support of others.
I love that.
Use the energy of enjoyment. Do something that you're enjoying and having fun during those difficult times. You may feel horrible. Do something that brings you joy. For some people, that's eating their favorite food.
Yeah.
For some people, that's going and playing with their dog or whatever it may be, but do something that brings a little joy into the space.
Yeah.
Do things that help you move out of the place you're in, even if the place you're going isn't where you want to go.
Yeah. Beautifully said.
It is. It is.
Mm.
Tom, you touch on a piece that I think is really a learning opportunity for all of us. And I'd love for you to share with us and our listeners when you talk about like the power of possibility is how you phrase it. And that's more, Pam touched on this. It's more than just positive thoughts and rainbows and daisies. You mentioned butterflies. Like it's more than that. When we're in that space, really embracing the power of possibilities. Talk to us about this modality that you're using, because it is a tool that you're utilizing throughout
Well,
life.
when you open my book, the first thing you see is a quote from Maya Angelou, and it says, "Every storm runs out of rain."
Mm.
Yes.
Because these storms of life, just like a storm outside, the sun is still shining.
Mm-hmm.
The storm is just in the way, and the storm will pass. The rain will stop. But that rain is going to make fertile soil.
Mm-hmm.
The question I ask people is, what are you going to plant?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So let's think about planting possibility. Let's think about what could happen. Let's think about steps that we can take, baby steps, little baby steps. So many of us try and take these huge leaps, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What can we do that's just a little to build upon, right? There's things that we can do that are possible. How do we learn from others? Who can we talk to that's been down the same path?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it actually means in the pit of your despair, finding someone whose despair is worse than yours and being of service to them.
Mm-hmm.
To put it all in just a bit of perspective.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
That's huge.
Mm.
I had the opportunity to see Maya Angelou when I lived out in East Texas. She came and visited local community college and did just a small, intimate gathering in their theater on a Sunday afternoon. And I remember I was gifted tickets, and I thought, well, this is random, but I'm not going to miss this opportunity. And here I am, front row, just listening to her just share.
Amazing.
Oh my gosh. One of the moments in life that I will never, ever forget. I mean, you immediately feel the amount of love and compassion that she had for the world. Like, period. That was just it. Like it just exudes through the space. It was amazing. So I love that that's the opening to your book.
And you've never forgotten it.
Never. I don't think I ever will.
You never will, yes.
Yeah.
I remember one time someone talked me into going to the National Cathedral in Washington, D.C.
Mm.
to see the Dalai Lama speak. And
Wow.
I remember at that time in my life, it was like, okay, that'd be cool, but
Yeah.
I probably wasn't feeling too well, right?
Mhm.
So I went, and I was in this pew, and I was at the end of it, and this procession came, and here's the Dalai Lama. And he started speaking, and there were translators, and then he stopped them and he just tried to talk himself. And what I remember him saying, as it appeared to me, he was levitating. It just looked like he was not on the ground as he said the words,
Uh,
"We have as many names for you, God, as we have tongues."
mm,
And I'll never forget that experience. And I wasn't going to go. And that
mm,
stuck with me throughout life about how we all have different expressions of things. It doesn't have to be just about God, which I refer to as God, love, universe, whatever people want to call it. I don't care. But these things in life that we all have different experiences from, and how wonderful it is the opportunity to be able to experience it through someone else's eyes if we're just open enough to let it happen. Look what happened to you. Look, my example. Got a feeling something's happened to Pam that
yeah.
we'll never forget it. It actually changed us. It
Yes.
actually did something that made an imprint.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mm,
Absolutely. Oh
mm,
my gosh, those moments. Those are the magical moments, those present
yeah.
magical moments that you talked about, Tom. You can't trade those for anything. I mean, we can miss them if we're focused on the past or the future, like you mentioned, but those are the special moments.
Mm, beautiful.
So, Tom, you also do coaching and you work with coaches and you are a podcast host and
All the
which I
things.
love. Like, yes, we are, I think we're all cut from the same cloth. We wear many hats. Talk to us about your podcast first and foremost. Tell our listeners where they can find you. What do you talk about? I know that resiliency is your focus, but talk
Yeah,
to us a little
yeah.
bit about your
Well, the
podcast.
podcast is really interesting. I'm really fortunate. It was written up in U.S. Business News magazine, and
Nice.
now that you know a little about me, it'll make more sense. But it's called Opening Pathways, and I either interview tech CEOs and founders or executive directors of nonprofits.
Okay.
Mm,
And then there's a sprinkling of people that I just want to talk to.
Mhm.
And what I love about the podcast, and so far nobody's disliked it. I had one guy I didn't care for, but that kept me humble. But what happens is the typical "Hi, who are you?" and we end in a little bit of wisdom, maybe in some
Mhm.
cases.
Mm,
But we talk about things like hope and trust and values, and it creates really interesting combination of things when you think about who I'm talking to. Like 80% of these CEOs and founders are into AI. I've learned so much because AI is not going anywhere. It's here. In fact, I have a strong belief if you're not getting acquainted with it, that you're going to miss out big time in life because it is here and it's not going away no matter how much we want to fight it. And how do we embrace it and move forward? That's a whole another topic. I could talk about that. But I think that we talk about these things and then we bring this in of, you know, thinking about what did you learn about trust in that process, or
mhm.
what did you learn, and or sometimes I'll ask somebody, what are you hopeful for in the
Yeah.
world today? And some of these things that are very, very interesting and what you learn about people in this space. I'm like you, I don't share any questions in advance. I make it
mhm.
conversational, and they're so much fun to do. I really enjoy them. And it's great. And I've met some incredible people. Some of the nonprofits are phenomenal. There's one that it's an organization I support, and I also work with them as a coach, and they focus on first gen students. These are students that are doing really well in high school, like super well. Now, they don't know if the lights are on when they get home, but they're doing
Yeah.
really well. I happen to believe they deserve an opportunity to get an education just like everybody else.
Mhm.
Even more so, I believe we deserve the opportunity for them to, because they could be the next great scientist or healer or whatever, right?
Mhm.
Musician, whatever it may be. And I love this whole idea of how this happens. Well, that's a great organization. We had a great conversation, and I love doing things like that because I will never know any of these students.
Mm-hmm.
I know that I've done a ripple in that family's life.
Yes.
I
Yes.
trust that one day that person will be out on their own. They'll have used that education
Yeah.
and they're going to remember somebody did something for them and they're going to do something for somebody else. I trust that.
Yeah.
I'm
Exactly.
planting trees I'll never see the shade of.
Love
You
it.
know, another nonprofit that I just love so much is this woman named Michaela, who has a nonprofit called Period. And it's just exactly what you think it is. And I was shocked to
Hmm.
find out where products are not
Mm.
Yes.
for
Mm.
women and girls.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I was so moved by it. I wrote a check after our podcast because I couldn't
Mm-hmm.
believe it. So
Yeah.
there's these things that I get to learn on it. And of course, I get to share a little of my wisdom as well. So it's a great opportunity. Yeah, I love doing it.
That
I
is
love
so great.
that.
I know. I mean, how amazing to interview like these directors for these nonprofit organizations where you know that everything that they're doing, it has a purpose, right?
Mhm.
And the intention in terms of having an impact that goes beyond, bottom
It's
line.
amazing. It is. There's
Yes.
one woman was an employment lawyer and she ended up starting this huge nonprofit that's so successful. But the reason she was motivated to do it, which I always want to know what got you into it, right?
Yes.
Is she had a lawsuit over a pint of ice cream. It's a great story. Watch the podcast. Over a pint of ice cream. When we got finished with the podcast, I looked at her and I said, I bet you never look at a pint of ice cream the same
The
as since
same.
then.
Mm.
Never
Wow.
again.
So great place for people to go to listen to your podcast to find out about different nonprofits that
Yeah.
they've never heard of. And so hopefully something will resonate with someone and they'll be like, oh, I want to get involved in that.
Yeah, you know, and things about leadership and things about
Yeah.
how we manage other people that, you know, people that are starting out on their journey or they're, you
Mm.
know, younger in their career, maybe not as mature. They get to hear from some of these people that have been through some really interesting things and what they think and
Yeah.
how they operate. And it's really great. I love it.
I love that you ask those questions of hope to those
Mm.
tech CEOs, because I imagine those are questions they've not ever been asked before in their field.
Well, certainly not in the business, right?
Yeah,
Certainly
yeah.
not in the business.
Yeah,
And I'm
personally, but yeah, not in the
Yeah,
business.
I'm refreshed at how they answer and what they say. You know, I'll tell you what happens in this crazy world we live in. It makes me realize that there's so many people like we all are far more the same than we'll ever be different. I know that's a little bit cliche, but it's really true. We all want love. We all want to eat. We all want
Mhm.
family. We all want to, you know, be able to get ahead. We all want our kids to do better, you know. Well, there's so much more about us that is similar than is dissimilar. And I
Yeah,
think when we talk about these things, it's just really great because we see people that we either put up on a pedestal or we think they're too smart or
yeah,
whatever it may be, that they're just
Mhm.
human like the rest of us,
yeah.
you know?
Well, and I think that's the beautiful thing. I think it's probably my favorite thing about being a coach is just the idea of that curiosity, because
Yeah,
everybody has a story. And when you just start asking people just questions, what you
it's great.
learn, you feel like, oh my gosh, I've got a similar story, or you find that connection. And if we all paused a little bit and were a little
Yes,
curious about the people that were around us, that were behind the counter waiting on us, whatever, it would be
yes.
a beautiful place.
You're reminding me of one of my new passions. I have so many people that have said to me, Tom, when I have money, I want to be a philanthropist.
Oh,
Well, this led me down a path. And so now I have a keynote I do, and I use it as a workshop called the philanthropic mindset.
oh,
Mhm.
And what I'm exploring with people when I do it is that philanthropy is not just a check you write or your name on a building or attending a gala.
Right.
mhm.
Your smile or a hello
Yeah.
is a philanthropic gesture.
I
I
love.
love talking with nonprofits and sharing with them the check you get for $1,000 or
Mhm.
the 4 quarters
Yeah.
are the same. They
Yeah,
come from someone's wealth. they come from the same spirit they're given.
Mm-hmm.
Value them the same. So
Mm.
this idea of the philanthropic mindset and how we can express ourselves through what I like to call time, talent, or treasure.
Mm-hmm.
So your time can be a philanthropic
Mm-hmm.
gesture when you're doing something for someone, you're helping someone, you're supporting, just listening to someone, right? Your talent, and talent doesn't be I can sing, I play a musical instrument, whatever it may be. I got a friend, she makes the best deviled eggs I ever ate. This woman's talented at making those deviled eggs, right? And of course, our treasure that we can share. And what's that like, again, back to the thousand or the four quarters, whatever it is, that we give a little bit of that at the same time. And I think the key for people to understand about this is when we do it from a place where we have an expectation is where we lose
Yeah.
that we're coming from a philanthropic mindset.
Yeah.
If you say hello or smile at somebody on the street and you think you're going to get the same thing back, then you're not doing it from the place, right? You don't know where they're at. You don't know how they might shift their day. You don't know what that meant to them.
Mm-hmm.
But expecting it in return, you really weren't giving.
No.
You weren't giving of yourself or giving of whatever it is you think
No.
you've given, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I love this idea of the philanthropic mindset.
I love that.
That's how you easily like shift into an exchange. I think people don't
Mhm.
realize that, right? Like if you're looking at it as an exchange instead of from a
Mhm.
philanthropic standpoint, it's like you're giving to give. Time, talent, and treasure. I love that. I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
Tom,
yeah.
what is in store for you? What do you have that you're working on in the future that we need to know
Oh,
about?
I this book has taken on a great thing, and I haven't shared it with many people, but I'll share it with you today. I'm just, starting to kind of circulate it a bit of, this book, I told all my secrets, like my philanthropy, I did 95% of it anonymously till about a year ago when I realized
Mhm.
this book was going to come out. And it's like, okay, you might as well come clean here, right?
Yeah.
And then I had a couple of friends when we've been friends for almost 50 years, both of them, and they said, look, what secrets could you have that we don't know? And I said, I have secrets enough that I changed your name in the book. That's that's the secrets I have, right? So it's
And
sort
you're
of this,
welcome. That's
and yeah, 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 and so it's actually this kind of, I really recommend it. It's like this liberating thing. It's like not that
Therapeutic.
anybody was circling around me with some secret they were going to divulge, but if you tried now, there's nothing for you to tell, right?
yes.
But the book ended about 15 years ago, and so there's two more coming.
Oh, I love it.
So they're in the works. So there's
Yeah.
two more of the My Life series that are going to happen in the coming years, and so that's really exciting. And
Congratulations.
Love
I continue to expand my coaching practice, and I love speaking, and working at the great story about where I'm the CEO is I took coaching in the late 90s,
it. Mm.
and we couldn't even call it, wasn't no anything such as coach.
Yeah.
If you said
Yeah.
coaching in the workplace, they were like, you're coaching the softball team after work?
Right.
I mean, I had to
Right.
call it employee development, but I
Oh,
used the
yeah.
tools. Well, the person that I took this coursework from is the same person that is the founder of the academy that's been going on. She's been doing the work now for 30 plus years, the
Oh,
academy
wow.
for 26.
Yeah.
And we always stayed in touch, and we reacquainted, and I offered to do a project for her for something. Anyway, it led to that I'm now the CEO of this academy of the coursework I took in the late 90s, right? Similar curriculum. It's all the same basis. It's, been fine-tuned over the years, which is amazing. Here's the thing I want to share with you. I love the power of manifestation
Hmm.
because I remember thinking in those early days, I would love to work with this woman one day.
Wow.
Well, I went about my business, and here I am 28 years later,
Yeah.
the
Back.
CEO of this academy working with her. And I share this with you because people think about manifesting. And the key, I think, to manifesting is to put out there, work hard towards it,
Yeah.
but let go of what it looks like and the timing,
Mhm.
because then you're not letting the manifestation do what manifestation does. Here's my favorite story. I had come to LA to work with some Gen Z Zoomers on a
Mhm.
podcast. And I never knew what the podcast was going to turn out. It turned out to be fabulous. In fact, I was first in their series they put out, and I love working with different generations. I've had the good fortune of doing it because, we all get labeled. I'm sure you did when you were that age in your early 20s. If you only apply yourself, or you're lazy, or the millennials where, they got tattoos and they don't wear good clothes, or whatever it is, you're always assigned with something. We're just trying to find your way. Well, I spent the day with them, and we did the podcast, and I ended up coaching them all, and then I left them with this exercise that I do with people. They're all crying, and I went and got in the Uber and left them behind. And we talk frequently, and I love it so much. But I get in the Uber, and as I'm driving, and the Uber driver says to me, "Well, what have you been doing today?" And I thought, he has no idea what he just did, right? You have no idea who you just said that to, right? So we got in a conversation, and somehow it led to manifestation. He goes, "I gave it up." I said, "What do you mean you gave it up?" Because, "Yeah, I was doing all that manifesting stuff because I was doing it and I gave it up. I just didn't get what I wanted." And I said, "Well, tell me the story." He said, "Well, I wanted a new car." And I'm thinking to myself, I'm sitting in what's clearly a brand. I mean, it still has the new car smell. I'm in this new car.
Yeah.
So I started asking some questions, and I said, I'm in a new car. Is this your car? Yes. So, well, where's your old car? He goes, "I rent it out to other Uber drivers, so I'm able to make some money off of it." I said, "Well, what am I missing in I've given up on manifestation. You wanted a new car, and I'm sitting in this like really nice car." Here's what he says to me. And I'm like, yeah, I'm ready for this, right? "I didn't get the car that I wanted."
Mm.
So in the course of our conversation, I shared with him, so let me understand. You were manifesting a new car. We're sitting in it. Your old car is making money for you. What if this new car is simply the stepping stone to the car that you really want? And maybe this car is going to make you some money one day to help you get there as well. Well, that led to a lively discussion. I got out of the car, and as I was leaving, I thanked him. He looked at me and he goes, "I think I want to start manifesting again." And I went to get on my plate. It was great. And I was like, yes, another one.
And
Another one.
that's a win. Exactly.
I love doing this. It's like, I've got this favorite restaurant in San Francisco that I go to far too much. And I love this story, right? And I'm watching this guy who's a bus person, and I can tell he's really young, and I interact with him for a while. And so I finally say to him, "Look, why aren't you a server? I'm watching you. You're so personable, you know." And so he tries to tell me I'm shy, which I could see wasn't true. Then he tries to tell me some story about, if I become a server, I'll make too much money. I'll never be anything else, right? So I learn over the course of a period of time, this guy's 19. He's studying to be a pilot. He's already flying planes by himself. That's how far along he is, right? So I know there's like, this is all, what we call monkey mind, right? That he can't do this. So over the course of a while, we're talking. And so he comes to me one day and he says to me, "Tom, they offered me the server job again." And I said, "Well," because they'd offered it to him a number of times. I said, "What'd you do?" He goes, "Didn't take it." So I said, "I have an idea for you. Would you maybe consider asking them if you could just work a couple shifts to see what it was like? Just, give it a test run." What I love about the story is I go to the restaurant now. He's a server, and I have to tell you, there's nothing like it when he comes to my table to take my order, right? Because what he's been able to do, breaking free of this kind of thinking that he had, and these patterns of thinking at this young age of somebody clearly this smart, right? Is now he's able to take his flying courses faster. He's been able to do different things to motivate himself forward. That there's so many things that we see in other people that's so obvious to us that we're like, why can't you see this, right? So I have this thing in my practice called the haystack method.
Okay.
Get ready.
Okay.
I believe you have your own answers. I don't.
Yeah.
Right?
Agreed.
And it's like people talk about it's like finding a needle in a haystack. Well, my job is to just hold the space to help you clear your hay away. So you can find your needle, so you can find your answer. Because we see things that we think are so obvious in people, they don't.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Telling them is not the way to get there. The
No.
way to get there is to help them kind of like, maybe move things out of the way so they can see back to that evidence, that they have evidence of what they've done before. It may be that there's so many different parts that you might be able to surface, but to allow them to see that they do have their own answer.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I love that. I
Beautiful.
love that.
Mm.
That you actually gave us two modalities there, Tom, and I will
Yes.
gladly accept and receive both of them. So thank you for those.
Yes.
I
Wow.
love it. And we are excited about the two additional books that are coming out. So
Mhm.
once those are published, we'd love to have you back. We'd love to hear. I mean, a lot has happened in the last 15 years, so I can only imagine what's in store in the next
Yeah.
two books as
Let,
well.
let, let me tell you that there's been just as much when you read that first book and you kind of
Yes.
go, oh my gosh. Well, let
Yes.
me tell you.
This is the same.
Let me tell you.
I love it.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
love it. I know
Um,
I'm thinking about the last 15 years of my life. It's probably enough to write a book. I need to get focused on that piece too.
Write one. I encourage it. I'll tell you the secret. It is so cathartic.
yeah.
Yes.
And here's the difference. The only difference between the person that writes the book and the person that doesn't, that says they want to write a book,
Yes.
is the person wrote the book.
Yeah.
That's it.
You can write 3 or 4 pages a day,
Yeah.
and in 90 days, you've got the
You got a book?
draft of a manuscript.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Done and done.
Baby steps. We think
Exactly.
we have to take these huge leaps. We think we have to get it done. We do it in so many parts of our life. Take a few baby steps and build some confidence. We get a little ahead of the game. There's so many things this applies to in life.
Love it.
I love that so much. If anyone of our listeners is out there that's contemplating writing a book, there's, I think, a great tip. 3 or 4 pages a day, give yourself
90
90
days.
days and
Mm-hmm.
just write for, those 3 or 4 pages every day for 90 days and then see what you come up with. Um,
You want another tip?
Sure.
yes.
What we do when we sit down to do these things, and it applies to so many other things in life,
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
is we try and write the book linear. I have to sit
Yes.
down and start at
Yeah.
point A, and I got to
Mm-hmm.
get this before I can go any further. What if you do it in a way that as things come to you,
Just
Hmm.
right.
you record those and worry about how you sort them later, how you put them in order later? Because we don't remember things linear.
Mm-mm.
No.
Things pop in our head. You see something that reminds you of something. So what I did is I took the opportunity to record it.
Perfect.
I used a service that just happened to transcribe and put it on a piece of paper. There's much better tools now than there was back
Mm-hmm.
then, but that's what
Yeah.
I did. And then later, with the help of some brilliant people, I was able to put it into some chronological order that became the basis of the book.
Nice.
Because every time I sat down to try and do it in order, it was like, oh, I can't remember that. I can't remember that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I know something happened there, or
Mm-hmm.
what happened at 7. That's not how we remember things.
Yeah.
That's not how our brain works. We look at something that reminds us of something. Somebody calls us, it reminds us of something.
Yeah.
We see something in the store, we see something on the street, whatever, that reminds us of something, and to capture that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's another one of my tips.
Love
I love
that.
that. I love that. Well, as you said that, Tom, like you would sit down to say, well, what happened when I was 7 or 8? You would probably spend the entire 90 days trying to remember what happened at 7 or 8
And get
instead of
frustrated, and I can't believe this
exactly
close, but and then you know what you say you have? Then you say you
writer's
have
block.
writer's block.
That's
Before you ever wrote a word, you got a writer's block. Right now, I've got a writer's block because I can't remember this microcosm in my life or
yes,
whatever the topic is, right?
exactly. Exactly. Oh my gosh. Well, those are fabulous tips. I
Yes.
appreciate it, and I know that you found out that we had just released our first book in our series here for the podcast, and we have a couple more that are in the works. So as we continue writing for our listeners and for our readers, I'm definitely going to take that into advice,
Yeah.
the advice into consideration. I think it's going to be helpful for me because I did have writer's block for a little bit. No more. No more.
Yeah, yeah. It's in our head, right? It's if you
Yes.
think about it, it's not that it's not real.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
It's not that it's not real.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
And
is.
that's where coaching comes in often, I think, for people that we don't realize that we get a coach that helps us, the right coach for what we're dealing with. Obviously, that helps us clear. The other thing people ask me all the time, but they'll say, Tom, does a coach have a coach?
Yeah.
You know
Yes.
what here's my answer. Does a dentist fill their own cavities?
Exactly. Yeah. 100%. Yes.
Yeah.
If your
Yes.
coach doesn't have a coach, find a new coach.
Find a
Red
new
flag.
coach.
That's a red flag. Yes.
Yeah. And some of us have multiple coaches.
I was going to say, yes.
I have 3.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was gonna say. It's like I'm much more. I need more people.
I need more.
Village.
I need an expert in each area that I'd like to see growth and expansion. So yes. I love it. Tom, this has been amazing.
Oh,
Thank
so
you.
fun.
Thank you so much for spending the time with us and giving us some insight and some background in terms of your story. I am intrigued. I'm going to get the book now. And we'll make sure that we drop the link in our show notes so that folks can connect with you and head on over to your website and check you out as well. Is there anything that you'd like to leave our listeners with before we sign off?
First I want to say you two are just wonderful. I just have thoroughly enjoyed being with you. The energy that the two of you share, I can see that your relationship is amazing with each other, and you're not even together, and I can sense that you're in a different space right now, and I sense that. So what a wonderful thing you're doing of being of service to others, right?
Thank you.
And the book, My Life in Business Suits, Hospital Gowns, and High Heels, I didn't tell you some of the stories, like what happened at that interview with Mark Zuckerberg when he was 19.
Yes.
So now
it's a great story. There's some other things in there that I think are, people have said the common thing I hear is I laughed, I cried, I did both at once.
Oh, I love it.
And so I encourage people to get it. But you can find me at tomlenoble.com on all the socials. My email address is resilience@tomlenoble.com. And I'd love to talk to people. And, it's been a delight to be with you today. I not only got to meet 2 incredible people, but I got to talk about one of my favorite things in the world, resilience. And there's always hope. There's always room for gratitude. And there is always possibility.
Beautiful
place to end.
I know we can't top that. Yes. Tom, thank you for what you've done. Thank you for what you're continuing to do. We look forward to seeing you again soon.
I hope so.
Absolutely. For our listeners, we will make sure that we drop all of Tom's information in the show notes. And if you are curious about what's happening in the world of Reignite Resilience, you all know the deal. Head on over to reigniteresilience.com or find us on Instagram or Facebook. Until next time, we'll see y'all soon.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you for joining us today on the Reignite Resilience podcast. We hope you had some aha moments and learned a few new real-life ideas to fuel the flames of passion. Please subscribe on your favorite streaming platform, like or download your favorite episodes, and of course, share with your friends and family. We look forward to seeing you again next time on Reignite Resilience.